Hello students, I am going to explain here one more important concept in C programming language, that is structures in C. See, we have already studied that array concept. Array is what? Array is a way to group together multiple data elements of same data type. If you want to group together multiple integers, then what you use? Array. Or if you want to store suppose string, then what you will do? You will create array of characters there. Means array is what? Array is a group of similar type of information, similar kind of data elements. Now suppose you want to store data about any student. Student will have roll number, name, marks, division, class, address, height. This type of information may be there about that particular student entity. Then what you can do? We will create one variable for storing roll number. In this way, now one variable we will create to store name of that student. Here we will use character array. We will write like this, char, let name of 30 suppose. Okay, means maximum 29 characters we can store here. Now next I want to store suppose marks in any particular test for that student, like float marks. Let I want to store a division of that student. Let A, B, C, D, E. Then one character variable we have to declare for storing that division. Now this is what? This is data about a student. If you want to store one student's data, then you can store in these variables very easily. But suppose I want to store 5 students information, then what is to be done here? We have to create here array of roll number having size 5. Then we will create array of this name, array of marks, array of division. Multiple arrays we have to declare for that. But I want that this should be considered as a single unit. For that only C has provided this structures concept. Means array can be used to combine or to group together multiple elements, but they should be of same data type. That array is a derived data type. I want to group together these different kinds of data. Means this roll number is of type integer, then name is of type character, then marks of type float, division is of type here character. This type of information I want to group together and I want to form single unit. Then that is possible with the help of the structures concept. Whenever we will create one unit to represent this all, then we can create one instance of that will represent one student, then second will represent second student. In this way we can do to represent data about any entity. We can use this structures concept. I want to store data about any student, then I will create this structure. How we will write here? Struct, we can give here any name like struct student, and now this struct student will have this all information in it. Means we are creating one single unit to represent this data. This is nothing but a structure. Means this student will represent, this struct student will represent all this information together. If you want to store marks of 3 subjects of a student, what you will do? You will create 3 integer variables like int m1, m2, m3. Now this m1 is capable of holding marks of one student, then m2 and m3. Means this int is what? Int is a data type which is given by the language itself. Means this is a basic or built-in data type. We can easily use it to store whole number. But suppose I want to store information like I want to store roll number, name, marks, everything together, then it is not possible with the help of built-in data type. Using this concept, we can group together different kind of data about any entity. Now this all information is about student. Then we can use this structure concept to group together different kind of data elements about any individual entity. Means this is of type integer, this is of type character array, this is of type float, this is of type char. No problem will be there. Even you can group together same type of data also with the help of this structure. Means where, see, I want to represent any complex number. Complex number is having real part and imaginary part, both may be of type float, then we can group together that also. Like we will create like struct complex, we can give any name, and here we will group together that real part and imaginary part, like float real and then float imaginary. In this way we can group together both the parts that will represent togetherly one complex number. Getting? Now what is this structure? Structure is a way to create user defined data type. What is the meaning of this user defined? See, this student, this complex is not provided by C language itself. Okay, we are creating this one. That's why this is called as a user defined data type. This is the way to create our own data type. Means why data type? See, we have created 3 variables of this integer. In the same way, we can create variables of this struct student. That's why this is called as a user defined data type. This is again a data type. We are creating our own data type here. Now that data type we can use to create any number of variables again, just like built-in data type. How? For that, the syntax is like, for this student structure I want to create 3 variables. Then we can create over here also, like S1, S2, S3. Now this S1 is what? S1 is a variable of type this struct student. S2 is again variable of type this struct student, and S3 is again variable of type this struct student. Now this S1, for this S1 how much bytes will get allocated? Here like 2 for roll number, 2 plus 30, 32 plus 4, 36 plus 1, 37. 37 bytes will get allocated for that S1. For S2 again 37 bytes, for S3 again 37 bytes. Why? Because this S1 will have all this, whatever members you have declared inside that structure, all the variables you have written here, all those are called as members of that structure. And here while writing members of the structure, you have to follow same syntax of creating variables. Whatever we use to create variables, same syntax we have to use over here. Getting? Now for S1 37 bytes will get allocated. Wherever there is space in a memory, 37 bytes will get allocated for S1. In the same way for S2, in the same way for S3. Getting? The first 2 bytes will represent roll number. Next 30 bytes will represent name. Then next 4 for marks. And last 1 for division. In this way, the members of that structure will get space for that S1. Whenever we create a variable of that structure is nothing but object. Student is one object. If you are considering this marker, you can say that this marker is again object. Any complex number if you are considering, that is again object. Any bank account if you are considering, that bank account can be considered as an object. Means if you are creating this type of structure for representing student, in the same way we can create structure for representing any account. Means structure is a way to represent object. Now here multiple objects of same type, like S1 is a student, S2 is student, S3 is again a student. All will have same information with them. Like S1 will have roll number, name, marks, division. S2 again will have roll number, name, marks, division. S3 will have again all this. Getting? Now here what is structure? Structure is a user defined data type. Structure is a way to create user defined data type that will represent information about any particular entity. See, in RDBMS we create table. Okay, we can create table that will represent one entity, like student table suppose you are creating. There are multiple columns. One column will have heading like roll number, then second one will have name, marks, and that way. And in the inside that table we can store information about any number of students. that one row will represent one student. In the same way, here one variable will represent one student. Getting? And if you are creating variable, means what is variable? Variable is a name given to memory location that can hold value. Now here again this S1 is what? S1 is a variable, but what is the data type of that S1? Here student, struct student is a data type of that S1. Now that will have internally different parts. All parts will be for all these members. If there are 4 members, there are 4 parts for that S1. Now this is what now again see, I am repeating, structure is a way to create user defined data type that will represent data about any particular entity, and it is a blueprint. Now here see, this is a blueprint or this is a template. Now this is available. Now you can create any number of variables of this structure anywhere in that scope. Now see, here you can create variable or anywhere, wherever you want store data about any student. Suppose you want at any place, there you can create variable. Okay, how to create variable? See, normally we create variable like we write data type and then variable name. In the same way only we can create variable of this type. This is a user defined data type. In the same way we can create variable of this student structure. How? We have to write like struct keyword, but it is always compulsory, keep in mind. Every time wherever you are creating variable of that structure, you have to write that struct keyword, compulsory. Means we will write like struct, then name of that structure, anything. Here name of that structure is student, and then we have to write like variable name, let variable 1, variable 2 and so on. This is the syntax to create variable of that structure. The general syntax is like this. See, struct, here you have to give name of that structure and any number of variables you can create. Now here what will happen? Here suppose I have written like this S1 comma S2. Here this S1 is of type struct student, S2 is again of type struct student. In this way we can create any number of variables of that struct student. Those are we can call as objects of this struct student type. Now S1 will have internally everything like roll number, name, marks due. In the same way S2 will have internally everything like roll number, name, marks due. Getting? Now see, initially all will have again garbage values. Whenever we create variable of any data type, then by default storage class is auto storage class. Same rule is applicable here also. Now see, after creation of variable, suppose I want to access any particular data about that S1 student, like I want to store one value for roll number for that first student, that is S1 student. Then how to do that? For that we have to use one special operator, that is dot operator, that is structure member access operator. Okay, now using this dot operator we can access individual members of that structure with variable name. Like how to access? The syntax is like this. You have to use variable name, any variable dot member. In this way we can access individual member of that structure. Now here I want to fetch roll number. Roll number is a member of that structure. Roll number of that S1. Now how to access it? See, like S1 dot RNO, and here with the help of assignment operator also you can store information. Like it is 1. In the same way about that S2, there is a memory allocated for S2 anywhere wherever there is 37 bytes free space. It will again internally have this roll number, name, marks, division. And if you want to access marks of that S2, then how you can access? Like S2 dot marks, S2 dot due, in that way. And what is structure? Structure is a way to create user defined data type. Means this is defined by the programmer itself, user itself. This is not inbuilt, not defined by the language. As per our need we can create our own data type. We can means combine together different data type elements about any particular entity with the help of this structure concept. And just like a built-in data type, we can use that structure in general, what is the syntax of declaring that structure is like struct keyword you have to compulsory use, and this tag is nothing but name of that structure, any name you can give, and here in open close curly brace we have to write every member with data type, like data type, then variable, any variable, then data type, the next variable, anything. In this way we have to declare all the members of that structure, getting, and here semicolon is must. See, here we are creating a template or blueprint to represent student object, means structure is a way to create blueprint or template to create any object. Now this is how to create structure, how to create variables of that structure, how to access individual members of that structure. Now using this all basic information, we can write one program to accept student information and display it. Okay, just I am going to explain that one. Program to accept student information and display it. Here we have to create structure student. Before that we have to include our stdio.h. Now see, we will create structure to represent student. How? We have to use struct keyword and then student, any name you can give here, but here we are representing student object, that's why we will use here student identifier. Now here what are the members of that structure? Suppose I want to store roll number, name and marks, this information about that student, then we have to write here 3 members. How? See, if roll number is of type integer, that's why int rno we will write. You can write here roll number, roll, anything, no any restriction about that. Now the next one is what? Name. Name we cannot store in a character variable, we have to create here character array, like char let name of any size, whatever you want. Suppose I am storing here only first name, then this is sufficient, that it can hold 19 characters maximum. And the next one is marks, suppose in floating point format, like then float marks. Now here we are combining like different kind of information together. Now here roll number, name and marks for representing one student, whatever members are there, that we have to write here, and just we will close this structure and give semicolon. Now we have created here student structure. Now in a main we will create variables, and then we can store data about those students and display. How? See, main, we will write here main, void main. Now how to create structure variable? Just like a normal variable of any basic data type. Here the data type is struct student. For representing one student I am creating variable s1, in the same way s2. Okay, now I want to store data about that s1 student. Now we can accept from user, or we can directly store with the help of assignment operator. Okay, now see, we'll write here like s1 dot, what is the information about that first student, that is rno, it is having rno, then we will write rno equals to, how to fetch rno, one particular member of that structure, using dot operator we have to fetch. The same thing I have done here, that is s1 dot rno is equals to let 1. Okay, then name I want to store here. For storing name we cannot use directly assignment operator. See, we cannot copy one string to other string with the help of assignment operator. For that we have to use strcpy, and for that we have to include again string.h also. Then only we can use that strcpy. Okay, now see, s1.rno equals to 1. In the same way we can store strcpy s1 dot name. Here suppose I am storing name like Ram, in this way. And the next one is s1 dot marks. Suppose I want to store, then again we can write like this, s1 dot marks equals to 98.00. In this way you can store. Okay, now I have stored marks of first student in s1. In the same way we can store data about that second student with the help of this s2 variable. How? In this way, s2 dot rno equals to into then strcpy s2 dot name comma let Ajay, and then next s2 dot marks equals to let 99.00. In this way we can store data about both the variables like s1 and s2. s1 will represent one student and s2 will represent any other student, and using dot operator we can fetch individual members of that structure. Now we have stored information about two students with the help of this structure. Okay, now we can display it very easily. Okay, how? Just using printf we can display data about both the students. How? See here, printf, let I am writing here student 1. Then how to display? Just in one line only I am displaying like printf roll number equals to % t comma s1 dot rno, in this way. Now here printf, see I am writing every information on a different line, not in one line, it will be somewhat complicated then. Now here name is of type string, that's why I will write here %s comma s1 dot name. In the same way we have to display like marks. Here only we will write like this printf %f, because marks are of type float data type, and that's why I'll write here %f comma s1 dot marks. Means individually we cannot access like roll number, name and marks. With object only, with variable only, using dot operator we can access individual members of that structure for any particular variable, for any particular student. Now in the same way here, whatever I have written, in the same way we can display information about that second student. Okay, you have to write code for that. Now here in this way we can write program to accept student information. Here I am just directly assigning data about two students and displaying it. You can even accept data from user also. Like here you can give message like enter roll number of first student, then just scanf %d comma ampersand s1 dot rno. In that way also you can accept data about those students from user and then display in this format. Okay, this is the program. Now see the next point I am going to explain, that is initializing structure variable at the time of declaration. See, if we have declared any integer variable like integer x, then how to initialize that? Just give here assignment operator and give some initial value. In the same way we can initialize array variable. How? Let we have created any array of type integer, let integer a equals to, here in curly brace we can give elements 5, 6. Now here automatically size will be computed and here 4 value will be there because 4 members are there, and we have given here all the values comma separated in curly brace. In the same way we can also initialize structure variable. For example, see this is a structure student. It is having 3 members, roll number, name and marks. For all those 3 members we can give initial values at the time of declaration. How? See, suppose we are creating one structure struct student s1, then for that s1 only we can give initial values, not for all variables, that is not in common. S1 is having internally roll number, name and marks. For that roll number I want to give value 1, then just in curly brace put that 1. Then next member, that is name. Here suppose I am in double quotes, I am placing that name is let Amit, and then next one is here marks. Marks we can write by putting comma here like let 59. In this way we can initialize structure variable at the time of declaration. See, simple. As a sequence you have to follow, compulsory you have to follow sequence here. See here first we have to write roll number, then name, then marks, and we cannot do like only I want to initialize roll number and name and I don't want to put marks, I want to accept it from user. Not like that, but you can modify it. Means first you can initialize anything and after that suppose you want to give some different value over here, then you can write like this s1 dot marks equals to 99. No problem, that already whatever you have given like 59 will get replaced by this 99. Getting? In this way you can do, but initially it is compulsory that you have to give all those three data members values. Getting? For that particular variable. For next variable you can give other different values. Like that. Okay. And suppose we have already created this S1 variable and same values I want to give to any other structure variable. Like we will create second like struct student S2, and for that S2 I want to give same values as S1, then I can directly write here like S2 equals to S1. Then same whatever same data will get copied inside that S2 also. This is how we can initialize structure variables at the time of declaration. Getting? Now I am going to explain the next point, that is array of structures. Array means what? It is a group of same kind of data elements. Here I have created student structure. Roll number, name and marks. These are the three members of this structure. Now I want to store marks of any one student. Then we can easily declare one variable like S of that type student. Okay. But I want to store information about 5 students. Then see, in that case we have to create 5 different variables of this type like S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. But the better way is we can create array of this structure. How? See, in this just like a integer array. Integer array how we create? We write like int, then name of that array, and in square bracket we mention size. Here instead of int the data type is struct student. Okay, this is only the change. We'll write like this, struct student. Then suppose I am giving name to that array like S, and in square bracket 5. What does it mean? Here S is an array because of the square bracket of 5 elements, and each element of that array is of type struct student. Now the individual elements of that array will be S of 0, then S of 1, S of 2, S of 3 and S of 4. In this way, see how the internal structure will be. Here this for this array how many bytes will get allocated? Here see, roll number 2 plus 20, 22 plus 4. 26 bytes will get allocated for one variable of that structure like 26. These are 26 bytes. The first 2 are for that roll number, then next 20 for name, and the last 4 for marks. In this way. Now here address may be 100, then here again internally the addresses for individual members of that structure variable, those are again contiguous like array. Getting? Now the second element of that array, that is S of 1, this one is S of 0. Now the second one is S of 1. Again for that 26 bytes will get allocated, next 26 bytes. First 2 for roll number, next 20 for name, and here are the 4 bytes for marks. Getting? In this way for all 5 elements the memory will get allocated. Getting? Then next 26, next 26, next 26. Now the first element like this is a S of 0. Then next one is S of 1 here. Then consider this one is S of 2, S of 3 and S of 4. Okay. These are 26 bytes. These are 26. Here these all are again 26 bytes. Now see, we know the array elements are stored contiguously. That's why if the first element of that array, that is S of 0, is here, then contiguously the second element of that structure, whatever that array, will be here only. Here again internally the elements will be stored contiguously. Internally members are contiguous. And again for whole array if we are considering, one array element and then next one, all are again contiguous. In this way. Means here let address is 100, then here address is 126. Of course, because for first array element 26 bytes are needed. Now from that internally roll number will take 2, then name will take 20, marks will take 4. In this way. Getting? Now here this one is S of 0, this one is S of 1. Then this one is let s of 2. I am not writing everything here. S of 2, s of 3 and s of 4. All will have internally whole things like roll number, name, marks, roll number, name, marks, roll number, name, marks, in this way. Getting? Now how to access again individual members for any individual element of that array, like s of 0 dot rno, s of 0 dot name, in the same way just like a normal variable of that structure. Getting? Using dot operator we can fetch individual elements of that particular array element. Getting? Here how to accept this array and how to display. Means suppose program is like this, accept data about 5 students and display it. Then how to do that? See, here I am going to explain. See, here we will create array of 5 students. Here we can create, or in main also we can create, like s of 5. Now next one is here in main. What should be done? See, here we have created that array, that's why no need to create here again. Okay, here we can create or here we can create, anywhere. Now this one is a global now. We can access this array in everywhere in the throughout the program. But here if we have declared that array, then we can access only inside main. Now what is to be done? Here we will declare one I variable. We have already covered that one dimensional array concept. In that, to access individual element of array we have to use counter. That is for that index, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. For that index we have to use one counter variable. Okay, because we are going to use here loop, and using that loop we will access individual element of that array. Getting? Now next here we will give message to the user like enter data about 5 students. For all students we will give here message only once, like printf enter data of 5 students. Now here we have to place loop, because here we are acting on array. For I equals to 0, always start with 0, because array elements will be from s of 0 to s of 4 here. Getting? This is array our size of size 5. Now here for I equals to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. See, first we have to accept roll number, then name, then marks. For every member, individual member, we will give a separate message like printf let enter roll number, then scanf here percent d, because roll number is of type integer. Now where to store that roll number? First we have to store roll number here at this place. This one is the first element of this array from this point to this point, and internally s of 0 will have roll number, name and marks. Then next s of 1 will have again roll number, name and marks again, and so on up to s of 4. Enter roll number, this is for first student. Then we will accept here like ampersand s of I dot rno. Why? Because I is initially 0. That means s of 0 dot rno, that is nothing but this place. Okay, here that roll number will get stored because of this scanf statement, whatever user will enter. Now in the same way we have to store here name, like printf enter name. Now scanf, here you can use either scanf or gettrs, anything. Scanf percent s comma, here don't use ampersand, we know while accepting string we don't use that ampersand. S of dot name. In the same way we have to accept marks, like printf enter marks, then scanf percent f, marks are of type float, that's why percent f comma, here use ampersand s of I dot marks. Here for all students we have accepted data, because see I is initially 0. For s of 0 dot name, s of 0 dot marks, all gets accepted. For s of 1 all information here we accept, then s of 2, s of 3 and s of 4. In this way we can accept data about 5 students, and in the same way we can display data of 5 students. How? Just use printf only. Like for loop again we have to place. Here we will write data printf 5 students data, like /5 students data. And again we will put for loop for display also. How? Again same thing we have to write here. For I equals to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, and here we have to just display everything. Like for printf, let /n%d comma s of dot rno. Then similarly we will display name printf /n%s comma s of 5 dot name, and similarly we have to display here that marks s of I dot marks, and here close main. In this way we can do program to accept 5 students data and display it. While accepting, just give messages to user that enter name, enter roll number, enter name, enter marks, and accept that using scanf. And display, for display we have to just use that printf statement inside that for loop. Getting? This is a way how we can use array of structures. Now we will see pointer concept with this structure. See, we can use integer pointer to store address of any integer. In the same way, suppose I want to store address of any structure variable inside any pointer, because pointers are only capable of holding addresses. Let we have created any structure variable and its address I want to store anywhere in any other variable, then only pointer variable is capable of holding address. That's why we can create pointer to structure also. How? Again I am referring the same structure. Here suppose we have created one variable of this type. How to create variable? Like struct student, let s. Now what will happen internally? Those 26 bytes will get reserved for that s. Okay, from that first 2 are for roll number, then next 20 for name, and last 4 bytes for marks. Now here the name of this structure variable is s, means this one is s dot roll number, s dot name, and s dot marks. Now I want to store whatever address is nothing but base address, means it's this initial address in any other variable, then it is possible. We are not going to store these addresses, this is the initial address only. Now that base address we can store inside any other pointer only. Pointer should be of type again struct student. Now how to create that pointer is simple. Struct student, for pointer, creation of pointer we use this star, and then let ptr is a name of that pointer variable. Now see here ptr is a pointer variable, it can hold address of any other variable of type struct student. This is the concept only. Now see here ptr can hold address of s. Simple, we know address of operator, we have seen that in pointers lesson. Now ptr equals to address of s, we will write in this way. Now see ptr is holding 100. What will happen internally? For ptr some memory will get allocated and it will hold base address of that structure. Okay, that structure variable. Now ptr is pointing to this s, means we can fetch individual members of that s structure with the help of dot operator, and also we can fetch data using that pointer. How? See, we know we can access individual members of that structure like s dot rno, then s dot name, s dot marks, in this way. Okay, we can fetch like this. Instead of s we can also write there star ptr. See, in this way, like star ptr dot rno. Here we have to compulsory put round bracket over here. In that star ptr should be enclosed inside round bracket. Why? See, this star and this dot, these two operators are here. The priority is higher precedence is to dot operator. If we have not given here that round bracket, then what will happen? It will try to fetch that RNO only by using PTR, not star PTR. If you want to access individual members of that structure variable using pointer, then you have to use star PTR. But if you are not writing that bracket, then what will happen? This dot operator is having higher priority than this star, higher precedence than this star. Then what it will first try to resolve this PTR.RNO. Then problem will occur. This is not a normal variable of that type struct student. That's why here you may get error. And to avoid that type of error, just here write star PTR, because we know this star is an indirection operator. If you want to fetch any individual member of that structure, then you can use dot operator, and in dot operator should be used with structure variable. Here structure variable is yes, but I want to access with the help of pointer, then we can write like this star PTR.RNO. But instead of that, there is one more better way. We can use one more operator, that is nothing but arrow operator. The arrow operator is like this. We have to write this hyphen and then this symbol. This both two operators we have to use combinedly, that will form arrow operator. Now with PTR you can use arrow operator directly to fetch individual members of that structure variable. Where means because PTR is having address of this, yes, that's why indirectly if you want to access these individual members using PTR, then you can use this arrow operator with PTR. Then there is no need to use that star. Get it? The same thing we can access with the help of pointer. In this way we can write PTR arrow RNO, PTR arrow name, and PTR arrow marks. Getting? In this way we can access individual members of that structure variable with the help of pointer. That pointer is holding address of this S. Now normally this is used in dynamic memory allocation, means if we don't know what is the name, exact name of that variable, because whenever we create memory dynamically, means whenever we allocate memory dynamically for anything, then we know only the address, and that address we can store inside any pointer variable, and with that pointer variable we can fetch individual members. Getting? And for that we have to use arrow operator. This is the concept only, that is pointers to structures. Means if you want to do program for this, then you can easily write like this, write for structure student, then just create these two variables S and star PTR and in that PTR we have to store address of that S, and here you can store information with the help of S, and you can access that information with the help of PTR. You can try it. Okay. The next concept that I am going to explain is nested structures. See, we have seen the concept like we can use that nested if, that is if inside if, the nested loop, that is for inside any other for. In the same way, we can use this structure in nested style also. Here the concept is we can declare one member of any structure as a variable of any other structure. Means what? See, here I want to store address also, address of that student. Now address is internally again having multiple fields. Like see, in this way suppose we have created one address structure like struct address, and here there are let's 3 members inside this address structure. First one is address means city name. Okay, city means here we can write char city of 15. Okay, here city name is there, and then suppose pin code for that we can use again character variable like pin. Then phone number I want to store suppose with this address, then we can write char again mobile of 10, mobile number. Okay, here we have to write 11 because mobile number is internally having 10 characters in it, and 1 for /0 should be there. Now here all this data I am going to store in this character array format, because city is of course it is a character array. Pin code we can declare a character array for storing pin, because we are not using that in any computation. any mathematical calculation we are not doing with this pin or mobile, then we can just declare as a character array that pin and mobile. Now see, our address will be like this. Now here I want to store address of that student, then I can write like this. Here one variable like struct address A. In this way, one member of any structure can be a variable of any other structure. This is on the concept of nested structure. Now here this structure should be declared first and then this structure, because if you are declaring this one first and then this one, then compiler may get confused, what is this? Okay, and that's why this should be written first and then this should. Now how to use this? Suppose I want to create any variable of this struct student. How we create? Like this, struct student, let S. Now S will have internally all these members like s.rno, s.name, s.marks and s.a. But s.a is again not individual. It is again formed of these three members. That's why all the members are like this. The first one is s.rno, then s.name, then s.marks, then s.a is not having its individual existence, because A is nothing but a variable of this type. That's why it is again having internally these three members. That's why we have to access like this, s.a.sit, then s.a.pin and s.a.mobile. Getting? This is only the concept of nested structure. Means one structure, its variable can be a member of any other structure. Getting? Here also you can write all the things like character, city, pin and address, mobile, but to distinguish that it is a address. Now this structure you can use again in any other structure also, like if you are creating any structure for storing data about employee, then the same structure you can use as a part of that employee structure as well as here also. Getting? That's it about this nested structure. Now the next feature of structure is we can pass any structure variable to the function also as an argument. Now how to do that? Let us see. Now see, I want to write any display function to display whatever data of any structure variable. Then we can easily write. How to write that? First we have to create structure. Let struct student is there. Same structure I am repeating, and it is having internally three members like integer, roll number, then char, name of 20, and next one marks like float marks. This is our structure suppose, and now I want to write one function for displaying whatever data about any structure variable. Then how we can write? See, here return type will be void, name of that function is let display, and I am passing here one structure variable. Then as an argument we have to write whatever data type and whatever formal argument, like here struct, then student is a data type, and here let I am writing S. Now here we have to display whatever data of that S in this function. Now how to write that? S dot roll number, S dot name and S dot marks we will display like printf, like roll number equals to %d comma S dot rno. In the same way we have to display name and mark, printf slash name equals to %s comma S dot name, and then next one is printf slash marks equals to %f comma S dot marks. Now to this function whatever formal argument is S, and with that S there are again three members associated, that is roll number, name and marks, that we can fetch with the help of again dot operator that we have used here. Now in a main I want to call this function, no problem, we can call here main. Here suppose I am creating one variable of this struct student, like struct student let s1 is equal to, I am giving initial values here also, here only, let first is rno, like 1 comma name I have to pass, that is let Amit, and comma marks are let 98.50. in this way. See, I have written here only because of space. Okay, let's struct student S1 equals to 1 Amit and 98.50. This is what, this is, we are initializing that structure variable at the time of declaration only. You can also accept data from user here. Now I want to display data of that student. Again see, one more variable I am creating, no problem. Struct student S2 equals to, here let roll number is 2, then name is Ram, and let marks are 99. No problem, this is the second variable. Now here whatever data of that S1 and S2 I want to display, then we have to write all those statements like roll number, like S1.RNO, S1.name, S1.marks, then S2.RNO, S2. To avoid repetition, we can use function concept. Whatever I want to do repeatedly, that I have written inside one function, and then I can call any number of times that function. Here I want to display data about S1 as well as S2. Then I will call this function 2 times by passing this S1 and S2 as a argument. Now here, that whatever we will pass, that S1 will get copied inside yes, and that data of that S1 will get displayed. S2 will get copied inside yes, and data of that S2 will get displayed by this function. Just like a normal basic data type variable, we can also pass variable of type structure to function. This is only the concept. Now here how to call that function, like simple function name is a display. This is not returning anything. Okay, that's why return type is void, and here we have to pass one variable of that structure, like here S1. Now it will display whatever data of that S1 variable. Simple, again we will just call that display S2. That's it. This is only how to use function and structures togetherly. Means we can pass structure variable as an argument to the function. Here this S1 is a actual argument, S2 is also actual argument, and S is a formal argument. And here we have used that call by value. In the same way we can also use call by reference over here. Means if you are passing address of that S1 or address of S2, and here you are fetching that in pointer variable, then that will be the call by reference. If you want to modify something inside that S1 or S2, then only use that call by reference. Otherwise this is okay. Getting? That's it about this, how to pass structure variable to the function. See, we can copy data of one structure variable to any other structure variable, that already we have discussed. Let here S1 we have already created, S2 we have already created, and suppose there is one more S3, like here struct student S3, and here in S3 I want to copy data of S2, same data. Then this is very easy, like S3 equal to S2 we can write. With the help of assignment operator, we can copy data of one structure variable to any other structure variable. Member by member, all data will get copied. Means here S3 dot roll number will be just like S2 dot roll number, that is 2. Name will be again same and marks will be again same. Means member by member copy will be done because of only this one single statement. There is no need to copy individual members. Getting? Now see what we have seen. Structure is what? Structure is a way to create user defined data type. If whenever you want to group together different kind of data elements about any one entity, then you can use this structure concept. Now the next point is structure. You can create a variable of structure just like a normal integer variable, because this structure whatever you are creating, that is nothing but a user defined data type. You can use that variable of that data type whatever you are creating just like a normal inbuilt data type. You can access individual members of that structure with the help of dot operator. If you want to use variable, then with that variable you can use dot operator to access individual members. If you are just creating any pointer of that structure type, then with that pointer you can use arrow operator to fetch individual members of that structure. Then just like a normal variables, we can create array of structures, like we can create array of integers to group together multiple integers. In the same way, suppose you want to group together multiple structure variables, then that is again possible. There we can create array of structures. Let I want to store student information, that is I want to store 10 students information, then we can easily create array of 10 size of this data type, that struct student. And every time keep in mind that we have to use this struct keyword with that student every time. That struct student, this whole is a data type. Now next one is we can pass structure to any function by value as well as by reference. Okay, just like we can pass normal variable as argument to that function. Structure variable can be passed as argument to function by value as well as by reference. Okay, we can copy one structure variable to any other structure variable directly by using assignment operator. No need to copy individual members one by one. Then we can use that structure in nested style. Means what here, one member of that structure may be a variable of any other structure. Getting? These are all points about this structure concept. In the next session we will see unions in C. That is somewhat same just like a structure. Some differences are there. How to create union, how to declare it, then what are the differences between structure and union. Everything we are going to see in the next session only. Till then, take care. Bye bye.